So I wanted to start off this episode with some sort of joke about us choking, but let's be honest, we're the Buffalo Bills, it kind of speaks for itself. So with that said, welcome back to another episode. We are the Buffalo Bills. We just choked in the playoffs. None of this surprises you. What we are here to do today is go through another offseason in preparation of hopefully, yet again, being the best team in the regular season, but perhaps having a different outcome in the playoffs. Before we get to this episode, though, let's get to some of your comments. Devinator33, Smelly really stunk that game. Thomas Bailey, one more question. What position is the most important to you? Now, I am all for personal questions, but damn it, we need to draw a line at some point.
Oh, I get it. I get jokes.
I'm sure I've asked you this before, but how do you feel a Draft to Glory series would go in Madden? Josh, let me tell you, I don't have to guess at how well it would go. We started to test it out on Twitch a couple of months ago with the LA Chargers, who I moved back to San Diego, so I didn't get called out for calling them the wrong name. And it went okay. We didn't fully see it out, but let's just say maybe that's the plan for whenever this Bills series ends, either after a championship or when I lose my goddamn sanity and give up. Thomas Bailey, why do you have 24 in your YouTuber name? Because I was born on February 24th. So it's my favorite number. And now I'm just going to throw every comment on screen in regards to Aaron Rodgers, because what else is there to do? So let's get down to business. We left the last episode with that big question of who do we look to sign? The biggest possibility being 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers, just due to that doubt in Hanson Erickson, whether or not he's going to take that next step forward, whether or not we'd be able to find his replacement in the draft. Is it worth bringing in Rodgers for 1 year? If we look elsewhere, there was talk about bringing in a backup running back or whether or not we draft one, and I'm still not entirely sold. The two names that came up were Damian Harris, who's not that bad as a receiving back. He's the 35th ranked running back, whereas Long Hankton, only one overall point better, is 26th. So, decent options. I'm just not sure if I want to draft a running back or sign one. Fullback-wise, we know we're sending that offer out for Lee Gutierrez, and hopefully he signs. Wide receiver-wise, we're going to look to draft somebody. We still have Keaston Savage, who might be able to develop. He's only 3 overall points weaker than C.J. Lane, and I'd rather see if Savage can develop rather than paying Lane $6 million. Tight end, nothing to do. Nothing on the offensive line. Defensive end, we know we need to bring in somebody. I think we're going to do that through the draft. Of course, we still have Nate Potter at defensive tackle, thanks to Deron Payne's injury. So we need one person for depth, whether on the left or right-hand side. We can fill that role. Linebacker-wise, as much as I'd love to go for Charles Marler, easy for me to say, he would be $9 million plus a season. That's not going to happen. Congratulations, Miami. You win. So we'll look to bring in a linebacker if needed, as I think we're going to ditch Harvey. Of course, Chauncey could easily move right back out to the outside. So linebacker-wise, we're looking okay. Secondary-wise, we're still stacked. So that was the big question as far as what we look to do. And I got to be honest, I think I'm going to try to draft a running back as opposed to signing Long Hankton. I think we'll look for a running back, especially with Kareem being 29. We might need to find a long-term solution that much more quickly. Which brings me to offering Aaron Rodgers a contract, which, Jesus, is he expensive. But, it may just be worth it to us to have Aaron Rodgers for 1 season, even at his age, just to see what happens. I'm not going to up the bid by all that much, or not. $29 million? How many points would that be? 94. $20 million deal for 1 year. If he accepts, cool. If not, we go with Erickson and we find a replacement in the draft. And Gutierrez is the only other guy that we're looking to target. Otherwise, we will fill out this team in the draft. Let's move forward to week 2. Is Aaron Rodgers a Buffalo Bill? Gutierrez is, and so is Aaron Rodgers. So there you go. I'm very happy about the fullback. Aaron Rodgers is a Bill. That doesn't mean that I'm going to avoid drafting a quarterback if the chance is there and we think he might be good. But Aaron Rodgers, at least for this upcoming season, is going to be a Buffalo Bill, as ridiculous as that is. And from here, of course, we are out of ideal scouts. Take a look at a couple of tight ends for the hell of it, even though that guy's terrible. And the offensive line will also still get a little bit of love leading up to the draft, although it looks like everyone in the 4th round has already been scouted. So despite the lack of a specialty scout over the past few weeks, we're still looking good in terms of the information we have available for the upcoming draft. Let's continue to just finalize looking at the offensive line here for good reason, just to get that over and done with. Zachary Hyde, you're meh. I don't know, some people don't mind multiple C+. It kind of just throws me off, and we can just waste all of our points here with the ridiculous amount of 6th round picks. We're not going to find anybody. I could just skip to the draft, but thankfully it is the last week. I am actually just going to skip to the draft. We're good, right? We have everyone scouted that we want scouted at this point. So as far as how free agency went, Andrew Luck to the Panthers, David Johnson, Marler did go to the Dolphins, no surprise. Winston to the Patriots, Houston Holt to Detroit. Hankton ended up going to Atlanta. So there you go. Aaron Rodgers is a Bill, and now it's time for us to get to this draft and just do whatever the hell we can. I don't even know. It's such a weird situation to be in. As far as our draft board is concerned, we have the 28th pick. We have a couple of extra picks, a ton of picks in the 4th round from trading down. So we have options. I will see you guys in a few moments. I'm going to sort out my draft board, and we'll take it from there. All right, I think we're good. I think we have the draft board sorted. There are a couple of quarterbacks to keep an eye out for. Clayton Paul is the best of the bunch, I would say. But is he worth trading up for to get? I don't know. That might not be a safe bet. Running back-wise, there are a couple of guys I have my eye on. No one that I'm like, oh my god, we have to get him. He's clearly the Kareem replacement. Dylan McLaughlin out of Penn State is looking like a really strong option. But we also don't know that Kareem's going to fall off the cliff at age 30, right? Like, I mean, again, for someone like Devontae Adams, I was content with letting him go, or even Ryan Shazier. But with Kareem Hunt, I don't have the same feeling just yet. I'm not saying like, oh my god, you're 30, I got to get rid of you. Like, no, that's not the rule. That's not what I'm saying. But Dylan McLaughlin could be worth it. However, Henry Hicks might be the fastest goddamn wide receiver I've ever seen. And while wide receiver isn't the position of extreme need right now, boy am I interested. Because he also has a pretty damn good vert jump for someone who's so small. I mean, he might be worth trading up to get. That's the problem, of course, when you look at team need versus, oh my god, this player's amazing. There are a couple of tight ends as well, but that's not a major issue right now. Hell, even the offensive line isn't a major issue. There are some pretty strong options that we could get. Mike Zuta is looking decent as well for a late round option. The big thing, of course, defensive line helping here. You know, we'll take one look at the team, where of course you guys will be able to see like, oh, okay, well this is what we need, and so on and so forth. But quarterback wise, with Aaron Rodgers, we're fine. With Erickson as the backup, we're fine. I mean, whether or not we get one of those quarterbacks who falls off a little bit, sure, but there isn't this guy who has like straight A's for his grades, or I'm like, oh my god, he's the gem. Trade the farm for him. Running back wise, obviously we need to bring in some depth, but we can fill that out through free agency, or if a running back falls. Fullback wise, Jackson Devon was great last year, but he's going to be dealt as we try to hope that Lee Gutierrez can develop. Wide receiver wise, though, we have a need for a third wideout, and that could be where Hicks comes in. Tight end, we're fine. The offensive line, we're still pretty well sorted. Dieter's not great, but we've seen what other teams' O-lines look like when we face off against them in the playoffs. We're looking pretty good. Defensive line, I mean, Denard Keahoe's still great. Joe Jackson's good enough to fill the role. Potter for depth. Malone and Deron Payne, we're good on that front. Angelo Riley as the left outside linebacker. Stevenson, Gardner, Johnson. Harvey could be dealt. So we're looking good. And then, of course, our secondary is still pretty damn good. Now, I think Mike Hilton will be dealt with him falling off a little bit. But Cordell Turner, who was nearly the hero against the Colts, could be good enough for that third option. There are a couple of good corners. I wouldn't say that's an extreme need. Bennett Huval's still great, and Micah Hyde's still great. So, in terms of one spot where we're like, oh my god, this is clearly where we need the help, not really. I mean, yeah, there are spots where we obviously need help and need to get some depth, but we're not hurting for like this one thing in particular. That said, I do still want to take a look at the Eagles and see if they plan on drafting a wide receiver. Because, yeah, now, they need one, even though it's not in team needs. But every time I take a risk with wideouts, it always comes back to haunt me. I'm just trying to decide if I want to trade up to the number 1 pick. I'm going to see what the cost is, because I think I really want that wide receiver, man. So if we were to give up our number 1 pick, do you have interest in Riley? You do need an out, or not, yeah, with Riley. No, Harvey, excuse me. Do you have interest in Walter Harvey? You don't. That kind of hurts, because we're obviously not going to give up Angelo Riley. You need help on the defensive line, but we can't help you there. You need help on the O-line, we can't help you there. And we can't really help you at safety either. Although, getting rid of Bryant Pyle could work, and then just have Bradford. Are you interested in Pyle? You're not. I don't know if we're going to have what it takes to trade up with Philly. I just don't know if we have the right pieces. We have draft picks, but it's obviously much easier to trade up when you give them players that they're interested in. And in terms of that offensive line help, unless they have interest in Dalton Tate or Carson Morandi, it's just not going to happen. I don't think we have what it takes to trade up with Philly, so we have to hope they don't take that wide receiver with the number 1 pick. And they didn't. They took 81 corner Carlos Ward. It's a case in point that there are still some good corners. Of course, we have the best 1-2 punch there. Even if our third option, our slot option, is not amazing, we'll still be pretty good. So Detroit, the Lions. Let's see. No wide receiver. They need offensive and defensive line help. Wide receiver-wise, good lord, they're terrible. I think we'll still try to make the trade, but there's probably a decent chance of them not necessarily doing anything. Now, again, I can't help but think as though we're not going to be able to offer up what they're hoping for. They do have interest in Harvey. That could be our in. That could be our in. Harvey in a second for that pick. What do you think? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We can do this, and we can keep our first-round pick in the process. Beautiful. Harvey, I really wanted to try and get you to develop, but you really didn't improve that much down the stretch of last season. I think it's safe to get rid of him now. He's close to going up to a 76 or potentially even a 77, but I'm confident in just getting rid of him, getting this amazing wide receiver, hopefully, and just moving Chauncey back out to the outside. So Harvey, a second and a fifth for the number 2 overall pick. We got it. Let's do this. I have, on a couple of occasions in this series, passed on taking a wide receiver. I'm not going to miss out on this dude who is rapid. The only thing that would be better is if he was 6'6". But I want Henry Hicks. He's so goddamn fast. I'm taking him. Let's go. Yes, let's go. Now, he's 14th in true talent, right? And we took him at number 2, so that's a bit of a risk. We took him a little bit early. That also just goes to show that it's a really good draft in that, I mean, I'm sure there's like the 5th rated guy could also be a 79, right? So I'm not thinking like, oh my God, we just missed out on an 87. Probably not. The highest I've seen is an 85 out of the draft. But at 21 years old, star development, already a 79, I mean, that's exactly who we needed. That is exactly who we needed. 98 speed, the catching needs work. He's fast, he's a great route runner. He just needs to improve on his hands. That's it. That's it. Only a 76 kick return as well. If we can develop his hands, we're golden. We're basically trying to turn Usain Bolt into a wide receiver. I'm willing to take the risk. Now, was it worth doing so with the number 2 pick? Time will tell. As they do get Keith Clemens as an outside linebacker, the Bengals, 80 overall, 74 middle linebacker. Okay, so you know what? At least we weren't Baltimore. At least we weren't Baltimore. Avery Grant, 81 corner. Really good draft for corners. Patriots at 6 get Colby Dennis, 80 quarterback, who we'll take a look at later on. Kilo Folston, 82 defensive end, goes off the board. Markeith Norris, another really good draft for corners, man. Big time. Bradley Brahama, 79 outside linebacker. Jets take Philip Burson. Oof, that is the best tight end I've seen this year out of the draft. 82 overall. 10th overall, Philip Burson. Damn, that would have been nice. Dylan McLaughlin's off the board, 80 rated. Of course, we'll take a look at all of the development patterns. Davon Merritt goes off the board. Laquan Penn, another good corner. San Fran takes Carroll Hull, 81 safety. 73 left end, Will Stanzi. Carolina, sucks to suck. Cleveland gets an 80 safety. The Giants go with an 80 safety as well, Crosby Horton. Atlanta takes 79 to John Fitzgerald, running back. Seattle gets 77 Antoine Greer, a safety. Texans take a 77 left guard. Steelers take a 73 defensive tackle. The Cards take 78 Jared Gold, a quarterback. Chargers at 23 get Lewis Arnold, 76 defensive tackle. Vikings take a 73 center. Rams get a 74 corner. Okay, so either the quality in this draft has really fallen off, or there are a lot of teams who are making some dumb mistakes. 76 McIver, a wide receiver, and the Saints get a 74 left end. So this is going to be very interesting to see if it's just a bad draft or if teams are making big-time mistakes. Clayton Paul is still there. Okay. He was early projected, wasn't he? Wow. Clayton Paul's still there. I talked about if a quarterback fell. Grant Langford's also still there. He's a scrambler, though. I'd rather take the field general. And Brian Taylor was a mid-first round who has a really strong arm. A-plus throw power at 21. I mean, I'd go with Paul over Taylor. Neither's all that bad. For some reason, oh, that's why. Draft board. There we go. Right. There's a couple of good quarterbacks left. I would probably trust Paul over Langford. I want a quarterback who can put up big yardage. So I think I'm going to take Grant Langford off the board. But Paul, Taylor, Osika, all decent options. Even Spencer Heward later on wouldn't be that bad. Clayton Paul is a possibility. Martinez Wade, we know we need running back depth. Ran a 4.5, not bad. Really agile. Not the strongest, but that's okay. Martinez Wade's looking like a pretty good option. Otherwise, we might have to rely on Solomon Cunningham, who did not take part in the combine. So Paul, Taylor, and Osika, all decent options. We could take Martinez Wade. Wideouts, we don't have to worry about anybody until the second round. Now, in fairness, we don't have a second round pick, but that's okay. We could, of course, trade up if we wanted to. Tight ends, nobody to worry about until the third round. Second round, Simon Madden. Is there any other first round talents? Mike Zuta is still available. Is he going to be better, though, than Dieter? Maybe, maybe not. All right, I wouldn't want to take him if he wasn't better than Dieter because it wouldn't matter, and I can't guarantee that he is. Alan Broughton at left end. Best bench press among left ends. Relatively agile. He'd be a good pickup as well. Tackle, block, shedding, and pursuit, his best grades. Defensive tackle, nobody. Nate Leonard at linebacker. Pretty fast, really agile, decently strong. Late first round talent. Avery Hill. Late first round talent, not that fast. Decent agility and strength, though. Tevin Humes. Not that fast, not that agile, not that strong. If he drops, he'd be okay. Nobody else there. Okay, so we don't have a second round pick, right? We could trade up, no problem, especially with all those fourths. More than likely, and I got a couple of guys I'm looking to shop anyway. So Clayton Paul, a quarterback, Martinez Wade at running back. That's what we're looking at right now. More than anything. Broughton would be that defensive line depth that we need, but he's not an extreme necessity. Same for the linebackers. Not an extreme necessity. We have our starting three. We do need a middle linebacker, but we could fill somebody in through free agency or fill that role with somebody from free agency. And there are some half-decent guys to take later on. And in the secondary, we don't have to worry about. It's just, do I think Clayton Paul or even like Philip Osika in terms of top grades? Even Brian Taylor. Brian Taylor's interesting because he's 21 and has a goddamn cannon of an arm. That's why he's interesting. Osika is also a younger player. One of the higher grades is throw on run, though, which kind of concerns me. And then there's Clayton Paul, who should have been selected by now, for sure, out of Miami. That's a tough one. That is a tough one. Do I think Clayton Paul... Because if I'm drafting for need right now, I probably take Martinez Wade to be our backup running back. If I'm drafting for need, I mean, again, defensive line, we're okay. If we think that Alan Broughton is like the guy to replace Joe Jackson? It's Joe Jackson, yeah. If I think he was, I got caught reading the Falcons thing where they just said the same thing twice. But Alan Broughton, is he the Joe Jackson replacement? Probably not. And at linebacker, we do need one option after that last trade. But is it more important than potentially getting a quarterback who could be better than Hanson Erickson and who could take over after Aaron Rodgers probably retires at the end of the season? Again, Nate Leonard, Leonhard, is looking pretty good. Pretty damn well-rounded. And there's also Avery Hill, who again, not as confident in Tevin Humes as well. But middle linebacker, you do have Langford Roth and Davion Frederick. I think we go quarterback or running back. I gotta be honest, it's just Clayton Paul or Martinez Wade. I'm going to go with my gut on this one because I don't think Martinez Wade is the replacement for Kareem Hunt. If he is, I have to take him. Like, is he the guy to be under Kareem Hunt for a couple of seasons to theoretically learn from him, even though it's not a system in Madden, and then take over? Or do we want to rely on Houston, who's pretty well-rounded as well, just to be that backup? I believe that Clayton Paul is the best available quarterback in this draft. It's him or it's Brian Taylor. I'm taking Clayton Paul. Interesting. 28th in true talent, 28th overall. 21 years old, 76 overall with quick development. Is he the project to give time to rather than Hanson Erickson? And is he the guy in general? Like, did we make a mistake signing Aaron Rodgers? Do we go with him? That's the real question. The Colts end up taking Mike Zuta, who was a 76. Washington takes Brody Fowler, 76 defensive tackle. Kansas City takes a 75 safety. And the Cowboys take Jimmy McBride. I'm going to go talk to the Eagles over potentially trading up to get that running back, which is dangerous when you look at some of the overalls of some of these guys in the draft right now. But this should be an easier pick to acquire. And I think to do so, we'll see if they have any interest in Hilton, which they don't, which kind of sucks. They have interest in safeties. Do you have any interest in Pyle? And again, linebacker-wise, really not much I can do unless you're interested in Ripkowski, and you're not interested in any of them. All right, Philly. We're not going to be able to get this to work. Let's see what Philly does here. They take a 57 or a 71 free safety. Imagine a 57. The Lions, again, don't really think I'm going to be able to. Well, I might be able to pull it off. Let's talk to Detroit again. Don't know how I feel about that quarterback pick now, though, man. He looked like the best quarterback in the draft. I might be wrong. Colby Dennis did go in the first round. So, let's see what happens here with the Lions as far as potential trade partners are concerned. Again, I'd like to give up Hilton, the way he's dropped off a little bit. They don't have any interest in him. That sucks. He's my main bartering piece right now, aside from multiple draft picks. But that's okay. Let's skip ahead. They take Avery Hill. The linebacker was a 76. So he would have been good depth. Cincy, are you willing to make a move? I want to get back up into the second round here, even if it is for that running back. So let's see. Hilton, any interest? Yes, that's Chicago though. Shit. Cincy. Any interest? Damn it. We're going to struggle to get back into this next round. That's okay. Let's go ahead and skip. Corwin Irwin, Baltimore, let's talk. Might as well keep trying. One of these teams will have interest in Hilton. And that is when we will pounce. I think he was the only guy, aside from like Hanson Erickson, that I was contemplating moving. I mean, there is the debate of, oh, you can move Aaron Rodgers right now, but it's like, man, I don't know if we have I don't know if we have the means to make that happen. Again, the big quarterback controversy now as far as who we look to keep. And in terms of what we could do here, so it's like we have Genther, we have Morandi, anybody else? Potter's going to move back to defensive end to be a little bit of depth. We have Ripkowski. They have interest in Morandi at center. That could work. How much interest do you have in Morandi? A lot. Yeah, we should be able to get Baltimore's pick here. I think we'll risk it on that running back. Again, we don't have any fifths, but we have a ton of fourths. It should just be 2 fourths to get this done. So a backup center and 2 fourths for the second round pick of Baltimore is successful. And let's get our backup running back. We took the risk with the quarterback. Let's go ahead and take that running back now. Martinez Wade out of Houston. And he's a good depth option in Kang level, but not a long-term solution. 26th in true talent. We got him at 36. He's 23, a 77 overall, but normal development. So I didn't give up much to get him. I gave up a depth offensive lineman and a couple of low picks. So I'm all right with that. He's not great, obviously. But we end up with Martinez Wade. And I think I'll probably just hold out and look to get a bunch of depth later on, and we'll see if anyone else is still available. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. So let's just go ahead and sim to our next pick in the 3rd round, the 18th pick of the 3rd round. I am somewhat intrigued to see where some of these guys went. Maybe we'll take a look after. B.J. Dalton's a 78. Jesus Christ. Maybe I should have been more interested in trading back up. But after trading up twice, can't say I was, as Holmes is still available. So all the quarterbacks are off the board. Solomon Cunningham, we do need a 3rd running back. He might be interesting to pick up. 3rd round, so we're going to continue to look. Therese Ford. He's not bad, but we don't really need a tight end. Same with Malbach. He's not bad, but not a necessary target. Roy Arnold. Decent strength. Not that great in terms of agility. Okay, he's an option, but perhaps not a great one. Earl Combs is a linebacker. Strong and agile. Not that fast and agile, not strong. Excuse me. And then Tevin Hooms is also there. Again, late 1st round talent apparently, but not that fast, not that agile, not that strong. That's the type of player that I think you end up really regretting that you chose, even though the attributes might be okay. That's an interesting one, though, because those attributes are great, and our scout says 1st round talent, but those combine scores, man. And there's a reason why other teams haven't taken him yet. So we have Combs, we have Humes, and that's pretty much it. Combs, Humes, or a tight end. There's also Roy Arnold. So we could get some linebacker help, or we could get that defensive line help. I'm going to go for Roy Arnold first, and he'll be our extra depth at defensive end. Although he is so much worse than I could have imagined, a 73 at 22 years old. I mean, so he'll still provide depth, but Jesus, that was unfortunate. I am already wondering what the response to this draft is going to be, as far as how we've handled this episode. I'm very intrigued and somewhat scared. So one of those tight ends is still available. And let's see, Combs is there and Humes is there. Let's go for Combs. I trust him more. Earl Combs. It's a 74 at 23 years old, 63rd in true talent. We got him at 92. He's good depth, which I guess for a 3rd round pick is really all you can ask for. That'll bring us into the 4th round. I mean, you can tell by the quality in this draft. We're playing with fire as far as trying to actually get somebody half decent. Easier said than done, apparently. So we got this wide receiver, Jose Parson. Fast and agile, not bad. Tight ends are all off the board now. Offensive line, Wendell Elliott. Looking pretty good. Fast and agile. Paul Fenner. Looking more agile than strong and agile, whereas Fenner doesn't really have much strength. So the offensive line option's pretty nice. Linebackers are off the board. Okay. Let's go for the offensive line help with Wendell Elliott. Man, even he's worse than I would have thought. 72 overall at 23. Damn. we are swinging and missing in this draft. Again, it doesn't look like the best draft at all, but still not doing all that well. So in terms of the talent left available, Jose Parson looked okay. We don't necessarily need another wide receiver, though. Fenner, I don't have much faith in. Actually, here, let's take a look at these stats. So again, Parson, pretty fast, good route runner for a deep threat, decent at least. Justin Jernigan, not fast, not all that agile, decent jump. Like, he's got good hands and he could jump, but I'm gonna say no to that. Like, he would be a good possession option, I guess. He's not fast. Like a tight end, maybe. But he's not going to be better than who we already have. Barry Lowe, fast as hell, relatively agile, decent route runner. Would be better as a deep threat, though. Slot option, maybe. Maybe Barry Lowe could work. But no one to take an extreme risk on. Quandre Rivers, not that strong. Decently agile, we'll keep him. Paul Fenner, again, we know, definitely more of an agile type. Zach Hyde could be okay. I mean, the top skills are concerning. They're a little bit low. And then Rashad Flynn, strong, not that agile. Could be a decent depth option. At corner, there's only one left, Jimmy Butler. Not that fast. Decent jump, decent agility. Could be worth it as a depth option after a trade. And then Martwan Gates. We don't really need a depth safety. So we're actually not even really looking at that many more people. In terms of availability, you got Long Dykes, which is a great name, but no. Okay, so yeah, it's a rough draft, but we can use it to get a little bit more depth like we need to. Especially too, I mean, we have 3 more picks here in the 4th round and then 3 picks in the 6th. So we'll get who we can get. And that's it. These are the only players left. So let's go ahead and take Parson, and at least give us options at wide receiver in case you want to move anybody out. He's a 72. Ugh. Kick return specialist, hopefully. It might be for the best, honestly, to just trade away the rest of these picks. This is looking rough. But we do need depth options. So we'll take Paul Fenner as well. I'm not sold on him at all, but we need offensive line depth. He's a 71 at 22. Surprise, surprise. This is an awful draft. I need to be vindicated by seeing the stats for everybody else and realizing, okay, yeah, just outright it's a bad draft. Let's see who else is available. It's our final pick of the 4th round. We'll take Jimmy Butler instead of Barry Lowe. Just we need a corner a bit more. 74. 59th in true talent at 124. Not bad. And now we'll go ahead and sim to the 6th round. No guarantees that anybody on our board is still there, so we might be trading out at that point. And judging by some of the overalls here, it might not be the worst idea. Draft board is empty. Is there anybody that I have interest in? Duncan McCain as a kicker. 2 punters. And yeah, I think we're good. I could take the kicker, but I mean, with who we have, we're never gonna look to do anything. I mean, Elliott's the man. So let's trade away these picks. We'll take a look at a couple of players that were selected earlier. And then we'll call it an episode because, as per usual, I'm going to have a lot of setup to do. Like, a lot of setup to do in terms of the amount of guys that we're going to need to bring into this roster through free agency just to try and fill it out. The good thing is, of course, we're going to have a strong team regardless. Like, that's not a debate whether or not we are first in the league level. I mean, time will tell, especially with a draft like this not helping that much. We'll take that 5th round pick from Atlanta. Thank you very much. And that is it for this draft. So, mainly intrigued by the draft recap for us. I think it's going to be more capped off by the quarterback situation that it's presented to us after the selection of Clayton Paul. But Henry Hicks, 2nd overall. We'll see as well if people agree with that decision to trade up and get him. So let's take a look here. Carlos Ward I wasn't too concerned about. Clemens, I mean, normal development for him too. He's younger though, so that could change. Goodwell, Jesus, man, 74, quick development though. Let's take a look at Colby Dennis, the #1 quarterback. Ooh. Well, if we were going to take a QB, it would have been Colby Dennis, 21 star. He's going to be great for the Patriots. That was the guy to take. You had someone like Folston as well, where we needed a defensive end, and he would have been great to get over the wide receiver, perhaps. Bradley Braham, the Brahm as well. Okay, so yeah, you can certainly debate, like, okay, did we need a wide receiver? No. Henry Hicks is pretty good, though. We had no way of knowing Dennis was going to be that good. You could make the argument of, maybe you should have gone with Folston, but tough to say. I mean, Folston or Braham would have been great in that, we could have left Chauncey at middle linebacker if we had taken Braham, and if we had taken Folston, that probably would have made Joe Jackson expendable. Philip Burson, quick development, he would have been great just to get an elite level tight end. From there, not really anybody else I was all that worried about, to be honest. A couple of high overall guys, but I think we did all right. Let's take a look at Jared Gould as well. Superstar, but he's 24, so good luck ever getting him to develop. Good luck with that. And then, of course, the Paul pick. It's gonna be interesting to see how this plays out and whether or not we made the right picks. I don't know, hindsight being what it is. It's going to be interesting, though, to see your feedback as far as how you would have handled some of this. But as far as the team goes, we're still set up for success. Let me know, quarterback-wise, do we carry the 3? Do we say goodbye to Hanson Erickson now at 24 years old? Quick development for him. I think he's back down from star. Do we trust Clayton Paul to be the guy to take over for Aaron Rodgers? What do you think? Running back-wise, we're at least set as far as our backup's concerned. We'll sign some other random dude. Jackson Devon will be traded, as we hope that Lee Gutierrez can develop into the best fullback in the league. Wide receiver-wise, with Kawangio, Charles, and Henry Hicks, we're looking pretty good. Just in general, some of the depth there is relatively strong. Tight end-wise, with Kawan Byram, still looking good. Him and Morris Pittman there is the 1-2. The offensive line, still looking pretty strong. We're going to have to sign some depth, but that's okay. Defensive ends with Keaho, Joe Jackson, and then, of course, Malone and Potter. Malone and Payne. Potter will probably be moved. Linebacker-wise, it's going to be Angelo Riley, Idris Stevenson, and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. We'll bring in some depth. Corners, we're still set. I actually didn't trade Mike Hilton. I need to, more than likely. We'll have, Butler be the 4th guy. Save a little bit of money by letting go with Hilton. And then safety-wise, we're still good. So we're still in a very strong spot. It's just a matter of how the roster fills out. But as per usual with the Buffalo Bills, the biggest question is quarterback. We have Aaron Rodgers for this season, and probably only this season. We need to decide between Hanson Erickson and Paul as to what we are doing here. We were the #1 team in the league last year with Erickson. Although we do feel as though he fell short, obviously, which is why we even considered Rodgers. It's just a matter of what if. So I'm very much looking forward to your guys' response to this episode, what you think we should do next. Like I said, I'll obviously fill out the roster based off of your feedback as well. We'll make some moves if necessary. But yeah, I'm excited, anxious for this next season. It's a lot of pressure for this team to do well. Until next time, though, you know the deal. Have a good one. Take it easy. Check out everything in the description. Do whatever the hell you can do to interact with the video to make sure YouTube cares enough to tell you that I uploaded it. And I'll see you guys in the next one.